are live. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're doing well on this somewhat chilly Tuesday. Your host here, BC, is Rioja here at the facility, and just want to wish you guys a pleasant time no matter where you are on the planet. And just want to thank all of you as well for allowing me this archiving moment, whether we're looking at Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Live, or even through the podcast networks, aka Spotify Podcaster, Podbean, Anchor, you name it. You can listen to Bisimoto, just do a search, and all of these opportunities come up with what we've been doing for all these years. And yes, for many years, I've been doing the Bisimoto Tech Tuesday. The reason for me doing this is to give back to a community that's been so kind to me, being that person that I want to be when I was much younger. I needed someone like myself to be able to show me the ropes and share information with me. I so vividly remember asking about how to modify cars, and I didn't have much insight as an engineering student on how to do that. And a lot of people shunned me away and wouldn't share some of the wealth of knowledge. And until I met John Conciati from AEM, he was the only one who kind of opened my eyes a little bit and allowed me to explore the wonderful world of motorsports and racing. So that being said, it's been great. Thank you so much. I see Aiden, how you said, Aiden Gomez says, what's that turbo sticking out? Yep, right there. You can kind of see that. That is a twin turbo M16. It's from a 1976 chassis with a water cooled power plant in it. Yeah, so we do have that indeed. What's up? Let's see on TikTok, Ride Faster. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate your presence indeed. Daniel Travel says, what's up, BC? Nothing special, just trying to stay warm. I have a hoodie on, my little SpaceX hoodie. Got my Bisimoto jacket as well. It's pretty cold. It's sick, says Best Videos. Thank you so much. What's the blue car, says Best Videos? It is a Porsche M16. That's the United States answer to the Kremer K3. It's a twin turbo setup, makes 902 horsepower. Really terrifying to drive, especially since the brakes are not up to the power par per se. Swag says EJ25 Donkey on YouTube, not YouTube, but on IG. Appreciate you indeed. Got a nice follow on TikTok. And yes, if you don't follow me on YouTube or TikTok, please also share the love and come on there. That'd be really good. Got to get some carbon ceramics, says Best Videos. The thing is, those chassis were designed for the 70s. And those cars back then used to make a little bit over 150 horsepower. Now we've gone almost 8 times the power, right? 7 to 8 times the power and the 900 horsepower setup. Then that's to the wheels. So imagine a crank is definitely 1 to 4 digits. And what I have on there are in the realm of updating the technology on it. I have a 996 twin turbo brake system, which is still not enough for that kind of power. So we need to up the ante per se, you know? So thank you so much for the insight nonetheless. Make it the Mach 5, my B says, what's your is mine's? Yes, that is actually the Kalani Utah 8 that was launched at this most recent SEMA. That thing is a lot of fun to drive. Nick is working on it right now to try and do some really nice beauty things on the interior in terms of the dash and so on and so forth. I finished up the dash wiring because prior to SEMA, I didn't have any illumination on the dash. So now when you put the headlights on, the tail light glows nice green. With the brakes, it goes red, and then everything illuminates on the dash, including the horn button and the button for the headlights as well. So just like small details that we like to do and make sure our customers are very happy with the projects we have going. And we have a lot more. There's a 930 right there. I'm finishing up the harness as well. We're at 930 right now. I'm finishing up the harness as well for the BMSs. At the same time, there's a 72 911 that's getting the EV treatment from Bisimoto, making that happen as well. Warrior Fella says, good afternoon, BC. Hello, Warrior Fella from YouTube. Appreciate your presence indeed. Thank you so much. Where's the Odyssey, says Tokyo Photos. And if I was a crazy drinking man, I would drink every time someone brought up the Odyssey. And I'll probably be intoxicated severely by the end of my shows. The Odyssey, no matter what I build, as far back as 2013, we built up for American Honda, makes 1,000 horsepower. That thing is just so popular. So to answer your question, the Odyssey is at my residence. Not here to shop, but at my house. Usually take the kids to school and so on and so forth. Just because the birthday is coming Friday, so probably the evening I'll take the whole family out and we'll just go get something good for her birthday and so on and so forth, you know? Make it, oh, sorry. I think I already answered that. I already answered that. Let's see here. Texas in the house, courtesy of Jasir to S. Thank you so much for joining all the way from Mid America. Appreciate you indeed. Yeah, stream is laggy, says Ride Faster and also ASAP on TikTok. Let me know, friends on Instagram, if you are laggy as well. If my TikTok guys are misbehaving, maybe I'll kick out and come back in. I'll kick myself out and come back in. So let me know if it gets better or if I need to do that. You know, Skylar's asking the question of the hour. What's the blue car in the background? It's a Porsche 935 M16 twin turbo, water cooled power plant, water cooled Porsche power plant, I should say, with a liquid to air intercooler as well. Lots of fun to drive. IG is fine, says Sneaky Mark 4. Thank you so much. Question for you, says Jasper 2S. What is your favorite build so far? In house? I guess I kind of have to divide that into three facets. One is the most popular one I've done, which is just absolutely ridiculous. So the Odyssey is one of my most popular ones. It took us 7 weeks to build that car from a lowly factory 200 horsepower Burgundy Odyssey to a 1,000 horsepower speed gearbox, boosted, sleeved, cammed up, pistoned setup. And it was a lot of work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of sleepless nights to get that built. So that's my most popular in terms of my most favorite in terms of being so popular. When it comes to changing my life significantly, how could I not think about the Honda Insight? That's my drag car. That was just a joy to drive, broke tons of records. We still stand till today, which is great. Um, that being said, the last one I would say that also impacted my career is the K3B. That is the, I don't know if you can see it behind me here. I have that like little picture of it, is the pink and gray 935, the first one that's in the arsenal. That thing really changed my life and opened my eyes to everything EV based, which is pretty cool. So yeah, thank you so much for that, and hopefully that gives you some insight. I can't just pick one; I have to pick three depending on the influence it's had on my life. Nihad Go, how do you say that? Is that Gozalev from Turkey? Thank you so much for joining from across the pond in Europe. Appreciate you indeed. Gaming with Fam Samington, also from YouTube Live, says hello. Corvote, who I just saw on IG, moved over to YouTube. I appreciate your transition there, Corvote, fellow engineer and a fellow enthusiast in the EV world. Says, is the Rolls Royce done? Are you going to try and redo the interior? So, Corvote, no, I am definitely going to redo the interior. It is not done at all. The interior guy did some things as well when it was in his possession to my battery system. So I kind of have to, you know, how should I say, correct some of that stuff. And interior is not up to my standard at all. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to address the majority of the interior, if not all of it, just to get it to par. And then we'll take it over to Jay and see what he thinks of the build. Indeed. I think I missed a good friend here. Who did I miss? Who did I miss? Who did I miss? Who did I miss here on IG? That Odyssey has been everyone top gear. The YouTube Plus says yes, sir, too. Yes, absolutely. Bogdan TSK. Hello, Bogdan, sir. Says hi, nice to meet you. You're so funny, Bogdan. For those of you who don't know him, Bogdan from TSK was from Europe. He came from Europe. In Europe, very popular in the whole EV world, especially with Teslas. Now he's in the greater Southern California area. He was extremely influential with that crazy white Mercedes Benz that had the Tiffany blue interior that was at SEMA last year. This year he had some like this crazy convertible Model 3 that he took to SEMA as well. Very talented builder, very astute businessman. Bogdan, thank you so much for joining the Bisimoto Tech2sDay and for also becoming a good friend as time progresses. Appreciate you indeed. Sneaky Mark 4 says, Beast not checking out Formula One this week. I did not have the opportunity to make it out there. I have been so swamped with getting it ready for events and being away from the shop that I have to be here to continue. Even me coming here with all of you is a bit of a luxury, believe it or not. So that being said, my little vacation from all the wiring and crazy madness today with the team is to interact with all of you here on the different social networks. Whoa, hold up, says Carvolt. Did some stuff to the battery, the high voltage one. What the hell was he doing? So, Carvolt, what I noticed is that when the vehicle came to me, it wasn't running. And my main high voltage cutoff switch was off. So I don't know why that was the case, but my high voltage switch is only for long-term storage or for emergencies only. And as you can imagine, core volt, you should only turn that off when things are powered down. Now, I have a weird inkling that the whole system was up, pre-charged and running, and that switch was played with while things are on. And you know what that can do to contactors, it can weld contactors, what it could do to transistors, what it can do to IGBTs. It could do a lot of damage just slamming 400 plus volts open and closing when the vehicle's on, right? So I don't know why the gentleman did that. I don't get it, but the car came here not running, and it took me about half a day to kind of change a bunch of components and get it back running again to be able to allow it to drive to SEMA in and out. But just from a specs perspective, so I kind of want to address some of those things. And the contactors I put on are just like emergency contactors, not the ones I want for high amperage. So I need to go back in there, see what's going on. I also need to optimize my CCS because I haven't finished doing the programming for that. If you remember, it says it correctly, it's something where I have to kind of use Linux to be able to play around with. It's a software language that I haven't played around with in a very, very long time. So I kind of have to dust things off and get into that and make it functional. Um, I don't like some of the traces on the battery pack I used. So I kind of want to remove the ribbon traces because it doesn't give intermittent, it gives me kind of intermittent cell tap information. And I just want to go directly to the batteries themselves and kind of hardwire that. So what does that mean? I'm gonna pull all the batteries out and then actually go to cell tap directly at the cell, pull that out and connect to my BMS. So all those small things that we can talk about. And seeing what happens with traces is starting to open my eyes to some of the reasons why some LG Chem battery packs were having some kind of issues with thermal runaway. Because you can imagine if a BMS all of a sudden inadvertently, not true, but inadvertently sees a sever in a ribbon for a cell tap, it may think that battery is low. It may send current to that battery or to the battery that's after, which may artificially read low as well. And then if you're charging and it goes past the upper limit of charging because it's having a false reading, it can actually allow that battery pack or that battery in particular to overheat and create some big problems. So from what I've seen, it's not the batteries themselves, it's the traces that go from the connector to the cell tap. So I'm gonna make ours a lot more robust, and I'll probably start doing that with majority of batteries that we get as well to kind of alleviate any kind of challenges, you know? Let's see. Hello, Jokai23. Thank you so much for joining me here on Instagram. Appreciate you. Are you going to focus more on EV, says Jester2S? Well, here's the thing. It's a great question. My desire has always been to have performance that is not detrimental to the environment. So all those years where we were running C16, Q16, petrol, I felt really guilty with my cars as I raced. I had a lot of fun with them. And then as my insight continued to progress and I went from carburation to injection, I kind of swiftly moved over to renewable fuels like alcohol. So alcohol allowed me an opportunity, ethanol in particular, allowed me an opportunity to make a lot of fun and use a fuel that made me feel better about what I was doing. And then with California being extremely strict with smog and EVs also being amazing when it comes to acceleration and torque, it was a natural progression for me to go to that and do a lot of performance EVs because it gave me a zero emissions opportunity. And then upcycle, which I've always done. So like that vehicle right there has all the beauties of a 70s 935, but all the technology in it is from a newer internal combustion engine setup. Is a water-cooled Porsche power plant, drive-by-wire, closed-loop boost feedback, closed-loop O2 feedback, closed-loop knock feedback, liquid-to-air intercooling. Everything you would see in a modern-day high-performance Porsche is in that old-school one. Then we go over to the Mobi that's right next to me here. That one has all the new EV components, also celebrating the Group 5 data of yore, being the old school Group 5 935 Moby Dick race cars. So it celebrates the classic racing heritage, but also infused modern technology. Next year, the team and I were talking about doing some more internal combustion engine stuff that's even more cleaner than what we experienced. So it doesn't matter the method of propulsion, whether it's EV or it's internal combustion engine, whether it's fuel cell, as long as it has the opportunity to be a lot of fun and to also check all those boxes in terms of performance and also cleaner tailpipe emissions, I'm all about it, or lack thereof, if that makes sense. Previous neighbor, Captain Mo, thank you so much for joining this Tech Tuesday. Appreciate your presence. Tristan Evans, hello, sir. Says hello, old friend. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you. Why ruin with junk EV? Says Nismo Schmuck. Nismo Schmuck, I hear you. And why do I hear you so well? Because I was exactly that same way a few years ago. I was anti EV, thought it was rubbish, thought it was the most stupid thing in the world, thought it was for people who wore hemp sandals. I felt EVs were for people who were tree huggers, didn't care about performance, that it had no soul. It was just absolutely rubbish as far as I was concerned. I hated it, and I used my platform, like I'm using this platform now, to really cascade my dislike and distaste for everything electric. I thought it was dumb. I wouldn't even sit in a customer's car that was a Tesla. I wouldn't sit in it. Like I have zero interest. I'll actually ask people to leave my shop if they keep pushing this EV agenda, right? I didn't want anything to do with it. And then as I noticed how some of my peers in the OEM space, Honda, Ford, Porsche, Nissan, all these people started moving towards EVs. And since I worked quite a bit with those OEMs to prepare cars for auto shows and continue to do projects with them, I felt that I need to at least understand this technology and kind of wrap my head around it so that I can still service these customers. Because if that's where they're going, whether I like it or not, I need to learn it and understand it. And that's what led me to build the pink and gray 935. And the first time I drove it with half the power in the back of my shop, just with 16 kilowatt hours in the back of the shop, with only 800 amps was the max I had then. It blew the acceleration, and then it had a sound because I didn't partition away the motor compartment with the cockpit where I was sitting. I kind of have everything as one unit. It had this supercharger whine to it. I'm like, this is awesome. And overnight, I became an advocate. So to answer your question, I'm not, destroying cars by making them EV. I'm actually upcycling them to a newer technology that's absolutely ridiculous. These Porsches don't leak. They don't leak. They do not um, um, have a hard time starting. Each time they run impeccably well. It's absolutely amazing. So that being said, that's the reason why I started playing around with those EVs without qualm whatsoever. Would you ever buy an R32, R33, or R34? Says Kieran Paul. Yes, I would, especially as I continue to solidify my relationship with Nissan. Not a challenge whatsoever. I like those vehicles. They're becoming extremely popular. Not that they always haven't been. And people are really pushing the envelope in terms of technology with that. And I love to bring some flavor to some of the old school R Series Skylines and GTRs. Ciao, BC, says David032. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you indeed. Bro, if I ever hit up the lottery, says Mr. Raw, I'm having you build me a car here on TikTok, and I'll be more than honored to explore that with you. Abby how do you say your name? Somarin says, wow, this auto, so grass mega gay. Thank you for the kind words. Appreciate that. Jason says, stupid, maybe lazy question, which I doubt, but let's jump into it. Can coilover preload be adjusted on vehicles, or do they have to come off? No, they can be adjusted on the vehicles, jacked up. You can be able to use by hand or a spanner that's designed for it in the event that you want to be able to preload that. It's not a problem whatsoever. What's the topless white car? Looks like a Mach 5 Speed Racer cartoon, says Warrior Fella. That is what I mentioned earlier, the Utah 8, courtesy of Luigi Colani. He was an old school, no longer with us, old school designer. That vehicle is owned by a gentleman who has the, how should I say, without giving too much away, um, caretaker's collection on IG. Let's say that. And that originally was a salt flat design car as far back as 1989. And in addition to that, that particular vehicle was infused with a petrol-based motorcycle BMW engine, which didn't make a ton of power. And then now what we have done is we've upcycled it to a 298, almost 300 horsepower EV setup that's absolutely terrifying. And that vehicle is about 1,000 kg, thereabout. So it's quite lightweight, single seater, no roof. Even when I drive it, this part of me kind of sticks out. It's pretty cool looking. And then we kind of gave it a little more futuristic vibe. It has a nice little circle in the rear for reverse light. Has a glowing, that little black area has a glowing green setup that when you apply the brakes, it kind of goes from green to red. Just a very beautiful set thing. You look inside, it looks just like it did originally. The gauges are analog based in nature. The shifter is original shifter. It looks just like it did when it was internal combustion. But as you get into the pedal, it is terrifying to drive. It's a lot of fun indeed. So thank you so much for your question. Appreciate you indeed. Ha, the standards comment says AGNCAGNC. What's the process of working on a project with you? I have a Corrado with an R36 that can use the BC Touch. Move the engine to the rear, perhaps, says Insta Big Raph. By all means, the best way to do that is to write to sales@bisimoto.com. Lindsay will have the opportunity to explore some stuff with you in terms of timing and cost wise. She pretty much runs things here. I just work here. Anyway, but yeah, we can definitely get you in. We have a lot of projects that are in-house that we need to get out, but we can definitely take care of you, especially projects that are quite unique. We cherish those significantly. MJ Photograph, hello, old neighbor. Where have you been? Very talented photographer and someone who used to come to the facility, especially when we're the other side of the complex. MJ Photograph, it's so good to see you, and I really miss all the influence that you had on some of our projects as you had the opportunity to explore that. Liberty Rebel 91 is asking a question. It's saying, do you not mess with Hondas anymore? Maybe I've done a really poor job in being able to, share that. In that room right there are 3 Hondas in that room as we speak. Even SEMA, literally, SEMA was a week and a half ago. I built a Honda for American Honda for SEMA. So maybe I haven't done a good job in cascading that Honda out there, but it was a Honda Prologue 2024. Just built that, literally just finished it. It's been my daily driver ever since. I drove it to work today. I've been driving it to a bunch of events this evening, played the CES early in the year. So no, I still mess with Hondas, still sell out Honda parts, sold Honda parts today. We have like even crankshafts for K series on sale, clutches, no, I mess with Hondas quite a bit. Still drive them, even as my daily. I just mentioned the Odysseys at the house as well, where I'm going to be driving it this weekend. Much respect, says AGN Cagncy. Much respect. Keep it making the magic. ICE and EV. Thank you so much. And the best is yet to come. I promise you. Next year is going to be bananas when it comes to projects that we have going on. You're going to love it, love it, love it. BC, how are you? I'm doing well. Jacket shades, a little bit cold. That's why I have this like beanie on and my hoodie and so on and so forth. It's a little bit chilly here in the shop, but I really like that better than having to deal with the heat. It's been a while. My gosh, man, are those batteries on the floor there? Yes, they are. That's a whole set for projects that's next to it. Those are the very popular 60-volt LG Chem batteries that people tend to like. Yeah, that's one of those. Thanks for the judgment-free zone, BC, says Jason. My pleasure. My pleasure indeed. I'm proud of you, says Tracy Willis. Tracy, how are you, Trey? Guys, Tracy Willis, who is here on TikTok, is a wonderful friend, my bestest friend in the whole wide world when I came to college. It's so weird how we met. I'm gonna tell you guys this story. It's super, super crazy. Tracy's amazing and just takes good care of me. So we both went to Cal State Long Beach. I was in the student union, like kind of upper campus, studying just by myself, engineering student, reading. And this young lady comes to me. I was just pestering her. She tried to get my number, was trying to talk to me, just being super aggressive, right? She was trying to talk to me, and I'm studying. I had no time. I'm not interested. Thank you. And as this lady wouldn't let off, Tracy came up to me and said, "Excuse me, is this lady bothering you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just trying to study here." And she cursed old girl out, just protected me, cursed, totally scram, in other words. And then Tracy and I became friends ever since. She's always been just an amazing, how should I say, like just great friend, sister. I don't know what, just amazing person. So Tracy, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure interacting with you. And I'd love for you to come to my Christmas party coming up soon. It'll be latter part of December. So I'll send you some details. It'd be great seeing you there indeed. Um, let's see here. Big fan of yours, says Kirin's Paul. Of you and your work. Trinidad and Tobago supports you. Thank you so much for TNT to be a great supporter. You guys build some crazy stuff out there. I really, really appreciate that. Rollins Kitchens in San Diego, which I will be for the new year. Good seeing you, Rollins Kitchens. Thank you so much for joining this speaking on Tech2sDay. Appreciate your presence indeed. BC, do you stop messing with Honda's 90 Honda platform? Just here. I don't know what to do I can't be marquee specific only. So consider me, guys, the Jane Leno of building a performance. I love everything. Here, there's a Kalani, there's a Porsche, there's a VW, there's a Rolls Royce right here in front of me. You can't see. There's a Tesla right there at the door. In the showroom back there, there's a Honda, Porsche, another Honda. So I have my 89 wagon. I have a 90s, 92 EG there as well. I have the '06 Insight. I have my 2013 Odyssey. I have a 2024 Honda Prelude, Prologue. I have it all. So it's like, no, I haven't stopped messing with it, and we still sell our parts for the Honda Marquee. Liberty Rebel 91. Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate the kind words. Appreciate you indeed. Where's the Odyssey? Says Tony. I'm just going to have a sign with me on the next Tech 2 that says Odyssey's at home. Because it seems to be the question that everyone's asking me. Let's see here. It's Sadie. Hey. Good seeing you, Sadie. Thank you so much. You wanted me here in Dubai. You know, I need to visit. My brother-in-law just loves it, loves it, loves it. Um, Nick, Nick, let me ask Nick a question. I have a question for you, Nick. Does he need help? Lizzie should be able to take care of him. Is she here or is she gone? Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, sorry about that. I had a gentleman walk in. I didn't want to be rude and just leave him there. So, yes, I do have the blue wagon. It's still in the showroom. Hello, sir. Good seeing you. Yes, I do have the blue wagon indeed. It's still in the showroom. And the wagon I have is the version 2, the all-wheel drive sequential K series one. You know the K series that people don't like very much, the K24Z3? I love that engine. People just throw more. I got that engine that I put in a wagon for $200 because people don't like it. They don't know the potential of that. But you know, BC, I love finding opportunities where most people tend to like ignore them. I love taking Porsche M96s, the M97s, making tons of power with them. I love taking D series, Hondas, and Silcam F series, and even the K24 Z3s and Z7s that people don't like. I just making a ton of ridiculous, reliable power with them. It's just great, 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 great. Have you ever built a 10th gen Accord? If so, what would you do with the one? No, I have not. But if I did, it would be very similar to what I did with Odyssey, the J series, single twin turbo, just having a lot of fun. I have a friend that needs a car help, says Mr. Lucifer. Please, Mr. Lucifer, Morningstar, let us know. I'm here to answer any questions and share all the insights I have and my opportunities as well. It was a pleasure meeting you at SEMA, says it's Sadie B. It's a pleasure, was all mine indeed. Thank you so much. You should be an EV wagon. Jasser, you're a man after my own heart. I am actually trying to push that. It's up to American Honda. I'll promote that again and see if they'll bite. I would love to do that. Let's see here. Thank you so much, Just. Appreciate you following and also joining this Tech Tuesday as well. Thank you. Favorite rim company, says, how do you say, Eric Enriquez? Brixton. I love Brixton Fords. Those guys, the Rolls Royce is here in front of me with the floating center, the Honda Prologue I drove today, that right there on the Mobi, that right there on the M16. There's a twin turbo that the team is working on now, 935. They did that as well. I love, 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 love my guys from Brixton Forest. My favorites indeed, you know? Rich the barber says, hope all is well. Hello, Rich. So are you the same Rich that is right up here next to the airport? If so, let me know. I need to make an appointment with you very soon. Have you ever messed with diesel engines? Says Jasper 2S. Yes, I have. I own a 2008 Dodge 3500 diesel 6-speed gearbox and let you know that it's not stock. How about that? So that being said, yes, I mess with those a little bit. Even though, as far as I'm concerned, diesel is a very dirty, non-renewable fuel. I try and use biodiesel whenever I can. If I ever find it, I'll go out of my way and pump from that station. But I prefer zero emissions or those kind of fuels that barely put out water at the tailpipe. His car overheats and the cooling system has been replaced. Still overheats. Any ideas? Yes. Do a leak down and make sure he or she doesn't have a blown head gasket. Um, that would actually, no matter what you do with the cooling system, whether you update your thermostat, even if you got your thermostat, update your radiator, update your water pump, if all of that the cooling system is proper and it's still overheating, it's very possible you have a blown head gasket. So by all means, do a leak down, or better yet, I would say, if it's a Honda, it's way easier. If it's a Porsche, a little bit more involved. But you definitely can do a pressure test in the crankcase and see what's going on. Doing like a high pressure system in the spark plug area and seeing what the leak down is. The leak down test would tell you if something is awry or if you're okay. And if you have the cap open to your radiator, and if that water starts rising or you're seeing bubbles, you definitely have a blown air gasket. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. SpaceX. Yep, wearing a SpaceX beanie today, saying warm. It's actually quite warm, quite nice indeed. It really is. Let's see here. Motec N. Hello, sir. Guys, Gabe from Motec N. Amazing enthusiast. Just saw my SEMA. Car looks sick. Would you have any info where I can upgrade a GDI fuel injectors full of Velocity N? I don't. So as you remember, whenever I go crazy with GDI, I just rip everything and go port injection, which kind of renders the factory useless. But no, I do not have any replacement for the GDI in the Veloster N. And what he's trying to do, I'm sure, is he's trying to have a lot more fuel flow to make a lot more power while using the factory kind of setup for direct injection. That's some of the limitations of direct injection if you want to go crazy with power. Going with the low volume pump or the low pressure pump is not enough. You sometimes have to upgrade injectors, that we have a limited supply of injectors as we sit today, unlike with ports. You can go from 10 cc's to 3,000 cc's with port injection without qualm quite easily, and even more if you search hard and wide. But with direct injection, is a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of a challenge indeed. Jason says, BC, some mythbuster question for Hondas with automatic transmissions. Growing up, I was always told not to change transmission fluid. True or not true? No, you can change it. Some of the challenges that people have with change transmission fluid, especially if it's something that's super, super old, is when you drain it and you put in some of the newer fluids, the seals are not as ideal as they used to be, and it starts causing problems. So the one thing that I've seen as a good rule of thumb for me is if I change my transmission fluid during the normal intervals, it's not a problem. But if it's a car that's gone 100,000 plus miles and never changed the fluid and you change it, you may end up seeing some seeping in the seals just because the new oils are a lot more slipperier and can get through seals and cause problems. So that's that. I would love to be able to do a study of new engines versus old engines and associated transmissions and then change the oil with different oils to see which one took well, which one didn't happen quite nicely. Maybe as we open up Mythbusters again, we'll use that as an experience. We'll see what happens. By all means. It's a Dodge with a 5.7 Hemi. Yep. I love Hemis. It's so weird that I had the opportunity to look for trucks a few years ago. And here's kind of the mindset that was shared with me. And feel free to pitch in if you think I'm off kilter here. They say Dodges have the best engines being Cummins. They say that the Allison transmission, the Chevys, are amazing, but the engines aren't that great. And they say the Fords look the best. So if there was a perfect vehicle, it would be a Cummins setup with an Allison gearbox inside a Ford body. That would be the perfect truck because you have the looks of the Ford, the reliability of the Allison gearbox, and the ridiculous robustness of the Cummins gearbox that's on the Cummins engine that's inside of the Dodge. Some people don't like the look of the Dodges. It looks kind of weird with the whole front end. People definitely don't like how the Chevys look, but love the gearboxes. So for me, the best thing was, as I'm hardcore, I could care less. I mean, I just want something that's quite utilitarian. So I went with the Dodge with the best engine and got a gearbox that was manual, so I wouldn't have the problems that the Dodge gearboxes have. So it's good. Don't quote me, but I think Injector Dynamics is working on direct injection injectors. That would be great, Ashton Campbell. And by the way, Motec N, it would be a bad idea to give Tony, Paolo, and his team a call to find out if they have anything for you. As I'm concerned, I have not seen anything firsthand. But they're good guys. Give them a call. So what does it mean when my radiator water goes up when the cap is off and engine on? Water is a fluid. And that fluid, as it heats up, expands. That's what you're seeing. So if you have your car started up and the cap is off and you start the vehicle up, as the water heats up and starts expanding, it will have to go somewhere and expands. The cap that you put on your radiator does one or two things. First, keeps the fluids in the cooling system where it belongs, but it also increases pressure. And when you increase pressure on the fluid, you know what it does? It reduces the boiling point of said fluid. So if your water, which typically will boil at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, when you put a cap on it that is quite robust in terms of pressure, it can definitely increase that boiling point to 230, 240, 250, which is great. Just said you look so cute in a beanie. Thank you, Jessica. Thanks, hon. Appreciate you indeed. Appreciate you. I just told you ahead of time, guys, that Jessica's birthday is Friday. Happy birthday to you in advance, dear. And it should be a very good day indeed. Can you make a sound check, please? Says Tim RR on YouTube. Are you going to hear me properly on YouTube? Let me know if you're not, and I'll kick out and come back. Do you know Sugma Bales? Bao says Wasu Aman. No, I do not. I do not know who that is. I don't know. I didn't know that, says Connor Merchant. By all means, I'm here to help. Let me know. That's why I'm here, to share all of my knowledge with all of you. So you guys don't have to go what I went through when I was younger trying to learn about cars. Blue Porsche is fire, says Marshall on TikTok. Thank you so much, Blue Porsche. Is nice, the M16. So it's not a head gasket problem, says Abduran Hammer. No, head gasket problem is not the issue if you just open your radiator cap and the water comes up. That's a natural opportunity. Now, the problem when you have a head gasket is if you're overheating, and then when you start it, you see it rising very rapidly or even seeing bubbles. And once again, a leak down would alleviate that for you. That's something you can do to find out what's going on. You do a proper leak down is where you take 100 psi. Most gauges have dual gauges, 100 psi in, and also the psi reading from the cylinder. The differential between the two is your leak down. You want to be in the 2 percentile range if ideal. In a perfect world, you have no leak down whatsoever. But with the way that internal combustion engines are built, especially those that have some kind of ring gaps, you will have some air going past it. But as you check, as you have each cylinder at top dead center, when you check and do a leak down setup in it, if you have a blown head gasket, you immediately see at rest, even when the engine is cold, water coming up and even bubbling when you take a look. If you listen to your crankcase, you may hear some hissing there. It's a good telltale to be able to do a leak down and find out the health of your setup, which is good. VMark on YouTube says, nice retro Porsche. Thank you so much. The mods are insane. Look at them rims. Oh my God. I want to study. Keep talking. I'm all ears, says VMark. Well, VMark, this is the Bisimoto Tech2sDay, and here's who I am, to share insight on all technology-based stuff, sharing everything I know in terms of technology, because as we continue to progress in the automotive community, we continue to learn and continue to move forward. And as I say, the rising tide raises all ships. So that's what I'm doing, to provide an opportunity where all can learn together and do some fun things and keep some good things going. JJ on TikTok is saying, what are the cars behind you? Well, right here is a Porsche 935 electric, known as the Mobi X. Right there is an electric Colani Utah 8. More like a speed race looking car, very organic, designed by Luigi Colani, owned by Caretaker's Collection. And it's restored quite nicely, beautifully, with almost 300 horsepower. Amazing indeed. And in front of that is an M16 Porsche twin turbo, 902 horsepower. A fun ride indeed. 6-speed gearbox out of 997, 996 twin turbo setup in there. Has AM Infinity for all the controls, twin turbochargers, 58mm billets. A lot of fun indeed, and runs on ethanol as well. And to the right of that, or say my left and your right, is a tail piece of a Porsche 930 that's being electrified as well. So that is a little synopsis of all the cars behind me indeed. Can you show the fronts? It's kind of difficult because I have a whole array here. You guys can't see that, but the guys who are around the facility can see that I have a whole light thing and multiple cameras and phones, and it's kind of difficult. What I could do is do a dedicated video to each car, post it up on YouTube, and let you know when it is live. So hopefully that can be a good opportunity for you. Is there a background noise that comes on and off? Sounds like a welder. Yeah, my team is welding, they're grinding. We actually do work as well. So as I'm doing this interaction with all of you, my team is out there working away and making sure that things happen in the shop. It's crazy seeing you live when I have a memory on the Facebook today of your Wago van. Yep. Isn't the internet really interesting? You have an opportunity to kind of co-join things and make things happen. And as you get some insight, it alerts you that Bisimoto is live. Pretty interesting, isn't it? What ET goals do you have for your test? Says Adi Campbell. Well, if you're speaking of the plaid, it's so weird. There is a video that, and just I don't know if she's still here, but she filmed me doing a run at Pomona recently. The first one was with cold batteries and it ran 950. This last run that it did, it ran 897. Now, the reason why I didn't post that is because as she was filming, she kind of put it down and cut it and put it back up. I'm like, oh no, I can't post that. People want to see the whole run. And that was the last run of the day at 4 p.m., which kind of sucked. Battery was nice and warm. It's good to go. No one erased me because I did my first runs against a few Corvettes, and then people wouldn't line up with me anymore. So I like the single digit stuff. It's amazing that we have nowadays, cheaper than it takes me to build a race car. We now have Teslas that can run single digit times on street tires and be street legal. How crazy is that? I know what I had to do to get close to 8 seconds in a drag car. You had to go crazy on fuel, multi power, very loud, could barely drive up to the line because the camshafts were so huge, fully gutted, single seater. But this thing is a four-door sedan. I'm looking at it right here, and the thing ran single digits. It's crazy. It's crazy. We are in a great time for enthusiasts. We have opportunity to have twin turbo setups and fan rails. We have everything to have like crazy high RPM, high compression Porsches. We can do hydrogen vehicles and fuel cells. We can do hydrogen combustible fuel. We can have alcohol as a combustible fuel. We can have EVs. As enthusiasts, there's no better time I can think in history that's a great time for an enthusiast to exist. This is it. This is absolutely fantastic, you know? Do you know how to do a bounce test on an old car? No. The only testing I do on old things that involve any kind of bouncing or like thereof will be a spintron test for valve train. We do a spintron test that kind of shows the opportunity and any valve bounce that can happen or flow that can happen with valve train, but that's about it. Now, if you're talking about going in a car and jumping on a suspension to see how it feels, I don't see a scientific nature of doing that, you know? To do that, the cute preppy, you need a spintron machine. And it's a machine that's pretty much like a spring dyno that we use for that. Stephanization, bonjour, hello, Stefan, all the way from Europe. Appreciate you indeed. To Lele9 says hello from Italy. Thank you so much for joining. Gillen Ross, hello. He says, hi, BC, what have I missed? Well, you missed us talking about my favorite cars, what the Odyssey is. Do I still work on Hondas? Some of the opportunities that exist as an enthusiast today with different modes of transportation and mobility. How exciting it is to be able to have really cold weather here, not crazy hot weather, which is interesting. What are the best wheel companies that I love? What are my favorite cars? And in terms of builds, we missed quite a bit. Galen, you have to come in a little bit earlier. And I also talked about my good friend Tracy, who I met at Cal State Long Beach, who protected me, and we've been friends ever since. And I'm trying to get her to come to my Christmas party, which is pretty good. What is your top speed you ever drove in and what vehicle? I would say officially the highest top speed I've done, as weird as that sounds, officially would be the Bisimoto Genesis BK Coupe. That thing did 178 miles an hour. I would say that's the fastest I've done, period. I know it's not 200, it's not 300, but that was really a bit of a puckery moment because as it got past 170, I could feel the tail end of the car trying to come around on me, and then the end of the track was there out in Gila Bend in Arizona, and I let off because the car had no aero whatsoever. I remember even going so fast, I kept hearing this kind of explosion or kind of popping that existed, and that popping was actually my fender wells popping out due to pressure and hitting the front tire. Pretty crazy. And then I lost my Hyundai badge in the front. It flew off at those speeds. Things get kind of hairy, and there's very little room for error when you're at the higher speeds, getting close to that 200 miles an hour. So officially 178 is the highest I've done. Uncle Big Elmer, good seeing you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. How much are the white bodies? That's not for sale unless you offer the owner from Caretaker's Collection a significant amount of money. That's not for sale either. So none of them for sale at this point. Oh my God, this is the guy that made the 1,000 horsepower Odyssey. It says UTM. Yes, it is. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you joining my Tech2sDay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, technology. We have 6-second streetcars now. Yes, I was hearing from this weekend some of the crazy stuff that's happened back east. People are running sixes. It is absolutely ridiculous. And then the gentleman who was telling me this was also making fun jest of EVs. which is weird because I guess he was using the Ford Mach. I forgot what the name of that Ford was. Ford Promise has an EV, which he used as a judge for. I don't know. It's weird. It's amazing how people take the 100 years of EV and 100 years, I say, of petrol, and compare it to a decade and a half of EVs, and like, hey, they're not doing it at the same time. Anyway, but when it comes to street, you cannot shake a stick at some of EV performance. Good afternoon, JDM for Life. Thank you so much for joining. Um, yeah, that's my team right there. I don't know what they're doing, but we'll talk to them in a second. What to do if you want to tune my four-cylinder engine, short block, and not much of a budget or any ideas? It depends. What do you have? Whether it's inline four Honda, Toyota, Nissan, or the case may be, the very strong go-to when it comes to cost-effective initial performance is IHE, so intake, header, and exhaust. We have a high-flowing intake, a high-flowing exhaust, and a header if your local jurisdiction allows you to do that. It's very challenging here in Southern California to be able to get away with such things, but yes, that is ideal. It's an exciting time in existence, says 671 AutoWorks. Absolutely it is, by all means. Thank you so much, B. Mark, for the kind words. Appreciate the kind words indeed. Let's see here. Gloff HV says, hey, BC, do you hire electrical engineers? I'm graduating soon. I would love to work on cars, but it's hard to find jobs for EE in motorsports. Actually, I'm not hiring for an EE right now, but I believe AEM is. So AEM Electronics is. I don't know where you are exactly. Are you in close proximity to Southern California or where you are to be in particular? And if not in SoCal, if you're close to Tennessee or Utah, I think Holly is also hiring as well. So, but at this point, we are not. Based upon what you know and what you see coming from SEMA, what are you excited for and what is it that you want to do for next year's 2025? I would say I'm really excited and happy with the fact that a lot of domestic companies are now embracing modern technology. It's no longer old school flying toilets and mechanical injection. They're actually, investing in high performance engine management solutions, PDMs, turbocharging, electric vehicle performance, all that fun stuff. I'm excited about that. What I'm starting to see a lot of, especially with this last SEMA, is using hydrogen in a variety of ways, whether it's for fuel cell or as a combustible fuel. I think that's great. That particular fuel allows the opportunity to interact with people where they can still have the sound of the ICE without any emissions. NOx's are still an issue because you still have nitrogen, which is abundant in air, right? So the air that we're all breathing has 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and the rest are inert gases. And of that nitrogen, even when you combust it in your engine with a hydrogen setup, you can still form oxides of nitrogen, which can be a little bit detrimental to the atmosphere as well. So that being said, there's still some opportunities there to kind of scrub that and make that cleaner. But it's really great to be able to explore that kind of technology. And I look forward to that next year. Next year, I plan on doing some more um, cleaner internal combustion engine stuff and also doing some EV stuff as well. So 2025 should be exciting indeed. Is content creation your full-time job, says Kyle Miguel? Not at all, Kyle Miguel from TikTok. As a matter of fact, building cars is kind of how we generate revenue here at Bisimoto. Building and tuning vehicles. And believe it or not, me having this interaction is me taking time, an hour or so every week, to give back to a community that's just been great for me, and to also be that person that I needed when I was younger. Because when I wanted to learn about cars, I was shushed. No one to help me. People were ignoring me, telling me to figure something else out. It was just kind of annoying. Holly and AM says, Geosef HV, yes, by all means, hit them up, let them know I sent you, and make it happen. Inside, you can kind of see it. The inside back there, you can kind of see it through the door, peering through the showroom there. Yes, still have it. The legend says, DJ from above. Thank you so much for the kind words. Appreciate you indeed. All right, the hydrogen motors look promising. They do. They do. Also, just like it was with petrol, with petrol engines, you are sitting on a flammable fluid where even the vapors are even more flammable. Hydrogen is a fuel that you have to be very careful with, especially if you're using it as a combustible fuel. There's embrittlement that can happen, so you have to use a very thick wall lines, or actually also have lines that have the capability of being heat treated, so you don't have any leakage at all. Some people run liquid hydrogen in tanks, which can evaporate after some time. I like the gaseous hydrogen method, where it stays gaseous, and as long as you don't have any leaks, you have no problems whatsoever. So it's exciting. You have all the sounds and emotion that people like to expect from internal combustion engines, even though I've experienced a lot of emotion in these cars because it's just different, not bad, just a different sound, and the torque is undeniable. But that being said, yeah, it's pretty cool indeed. And we're in a good time. What is a center seat? I'm sorry, I missed you, DJ from above. What is it? A center black and white looks, oh, in a center black and white. So that car is a 1989 Colani. It's a custom one-off, one-of-one vehicle, tube chassis car with a beautiful, very organic body. If you look through some of my Instagram feeds, you'll see the vehicle front, rear, and inside. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a single seater, yes, 300 horsepower. It's absolutely amazing to drive. And oh, the one thing I need to do, what I didn't notice when I was driving that, is that the brakes, being really old, have a slight kind of feedback to it. So I may want to take those discs off and have them turned. That's the second one I want to do. V-Mark is saying, what car brand do you think is underrated? If you get 100,000 for sedan, what are you buying? Please answer, says V-Mark. I would say one of the most underrated brands that's really stepping up is actually Hyundai. To think where they were and where they are today, it's amazing. And then on the DL, which is a gem, and I hope they really step up the ante as we get into these newer technologies. And I think they're doing some stuff in Asia, but not quite in the United States as much with the newer propulsion technologies. But their work is absolutely impeccable. Believe it or not, it's Mazda. Their interiors are really sick. So I think it's underrated. You know, brands like Honda are amazing. People love them. Brands like Porsche, people love them. Rolls Royce, people love them. Porsche, people just go crazy. But under the radar, Hyundai is really doing some amazing stuff with their design language and their technology. And then when it comes to something that's absolutely beautiful, just art on wheels, the interiors are a lot more richer than they actually appear. Mazda is really doing it. Now, if I had $100,000 for a sedan, what would I be buying? I probably would look at a base Taycan rear-wheel drive. I think the newer Taycans are absolutely amazing. It is 100% Porsche through and through. As much as I love the speed of the Tesla Model S, especially the Plaid, the fit and finish leaves a little bit to be desired. Even my steering wheel on my Plaid is starting to erode with the vegan leather. You would never see that with a Porsche. And so that being said, I think that's a very good get. If you want something that's a little bit more off-roady, you can look at some of the offerings from Rivian. They have some really good opportunities that do not break the bank per se. Cream or CREAM is asking, do you still have any Hondas? And that seems to be really, I need to kind of do something to step up my influence because I must be doing a bad job. Yes, I do have quite a few Hondas and just built one as recently as a week and a half ago, which I need to do some more videos so people can be aware of it. I built a 2024 Honda Prologue with American Honda. In that showroom, you can see peering out, the Honda Insight is still there. My Odyssey's at the house. We have a Honda EG Turbo setup in there, all-wheel drive wagon with sequential gearbox in there as well. Yes, I have my Hondas and love them. Honda's been my first love, period. Very interesting, says V-Mark. Thank you so much. Appreciate you indeed. What do you do for a living, says Jay Buzzy? Well, for a living, the team and I build really cool cars. We take vehicles that are somewhat exciting and make them absolutely spectacular. I mean, for example, that Porsche in 1976 was really pretty good, but we made it absolutely fantastic. This Colani with the BMW engine was good. I'm sure it was a lot of fun when I drove it, but now we made it even more exciting. The Mobi didn't even have an engine when I got it, and now it's one of the best vehicles that we've had in the office. It's pretty good indeed. Let's see here. Blunt Mobile saying, do you stop the Odyssey? I do. Odyssey's at the residence, which is pretty nice. Okay, so that being said, guys, Nate Mark 7.5, good seeing you. Hope you're doing a great one as well. Are you going to Formula One, says Artec Moto? I cannot. My team actually got a little ill from SEMA. They got really sick, and we're barely getting back in the swing of things. So trying to catch up. I just have a lot of projects with clients and so on and so forth. And me interacting with all of you here is my vacation, believe it or not. So that's that. Well, guys, that being said, I do have to fly. It's a pleasure interacting with all of you. I see that, how do you say that? Brandant Lyle on TikTok is asking what the blue car is, a Porsche 935 M16. Look it up. It's pretty nice. Born a drummer. Hello, Glenn, sir. We need to definitely do a event in the mode. By all means, I need to bring this Rolls Royce out as I promised so we can have some fun. But guys, thank you so much for joining. Look forward to seeing you next week. I should have some lives with some events going on this evening as well, into tomorrow and the coming weekend. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay warm no matter where you are, and I look forward to seeing you same time next week. Have a pleasant one, everyone. Take care. Cheers. Bye bye.